Hi, this is David from Fumastro Management Consulting, and in this video we are going to continue reviewing Office scripts for Excel on the web. And in previous video we had created a macro that was that was creating a table, formatting the date, formatting as well two columns of numbers into currencies, and we could apply our macro into a new table. We improved our macro in such a way that it could take longer tables, so we made it a bit more dynamic, and we are going to continue exploring now what we can do with that. So maybe we can read some properties about the table, getting to know the name of the table, and assigning personalized name to our table. So for instance, when we click within the table, okay, we have the table tools design, but the contrary as what we have in Excel desktop, we cannot access the name of that table. In Excel desktop, okay, you can access the name of that table, see what has been what name was assigned to that table, and change it, okay, give it the name that you want. And we know that by default Excel assigns a number to a table, so like table 1, table 2, table 3, and we can call that table within a function. So if I start typing table, usually the name of that table is listed in the contextual help. And in that case, I have no idea if Excel named that table 1. If I type the formula equal table 1, it returns a table, that's fine, but not this table. It must have been the very first table that we created. So, well, it's difficult to know, okay, which number has been assigned to this one, and I cannot go through table 1, table 2, table 3 until I'm sure I'm getting that table in particular. So actually, the script is going to be quite useful for that, to retrieve the name of that table and eventually give it a more customized name, and to make sure as it doesn't appear inside the table tools, we can assign the cell A2 or the cell B2 the name of that table, and here we will write, okay, the label for that result, for that output. Okay, so let's go for it. We click on Automate, the tab that contains the different scripts that we previously created, and in the script gallery we should be able to see the create table script. Here it is. So it takes a bit of time to display. We can click on code editor to access the code editor and start typing our script. So well, in that case we cannot use the record actions because we have no way of getting the name of that table by recording steps. So we will need to create a script from scratch, right? So let's create a new script, and automatically Excel provides the default syntax for that function, which is always async function main, and then in between bracket context column Excel request context, and then we have a comment code. Okay, so we can give it a more meaningful comment, get the name of my table and assign a new name for my table, right? So just deleted the closing curly bracket. Let's start as usual. Okay, within those function we are going to assign a variable, which is, well, we are going to work within that table in particular, getting the name of that table and assigning a new name. So let's just assign one variable, which is going to be this table. So I like to give my variable name always with a V before, such that I clearly identify all those variables. So equal is going to be equal to context workbook then within the workbook collection, we are going to access the worksheets collection. Within the worksheet collection, we need to access the we need to get actually the active worksheet, and within that active worksheet, okay, I prefer to display the information so that we have some visual clue of how we should handle this one and some explanation. It's always quite useful. And then we can access, okay, the tables collection. Within the tables collection, we are going to get the item, and because we don't have the name yet of that item, we are going to use the get item at, because we know that within that worksheet, at least that active worksheet, currently we have only one table, so the index of that table is going to be obligatory 0, as we have a 0-based index. So get int item at index 0, and that's what we need to write, okay, to get to that table. Okay, so the context is referencing the Excel environment. Then we access the workbook collection, within which we are going to access the worksheet collection and get the active worksheet of that collection and access the table collection. And within the table collection, finally, we access the table that we want via the index of the list of items. So once we have this, we can get the name of that item. So we can use this table dot get actually its name. Okay, so we can read that property of our table. So we can, okay, first we can use the console to give us the result within that console and see what we have. So we can use, okay, it's not capital, it's console log. And okay, sometimes when we have an error, so we have this little bulb that indicates us some tips about that. So that can be quite useful. And then, okay. So first of all, when I want to read a property, each time I want to access a property of an object, I need first to load it and then to sync it. So I'm going to load that property and sync it. For that, I need to use the load method. So this table load, most objects have a load method to load a property, and the property is a string, as it is saying here. So it should be a string, a comma delimited string if you want to place more than one property, or an array of strings that specify the properties to load. So in that case, we want the property name. We can load that, and we need, each time after we load a property of an object, we need to use await context sync. Okay, those are automatic. Each time we load a property of an object, we need definitely to await context sync, and then we can read it. So let's save this and let's run it to see in our console the output of that. And then after, we can change that name, give it a new name, and place the result in our cells. Okay, let's run that. All right, so here we have our output. Sometimes the code editor is a bit buggy and it takes very long time, okay, to render the result, and sometimes we have to click run several times until we get the right result. Well, again, it's in preview, so we can expect some improvement over time for sure. But here we have the name of our table, which is here in this case table 5, so it must have been the 5th table that we created within Excel. So it takes the index of the number of tables that have been created. So now that we have the name of our table, we can eventually reference it within a function. And if I type table 5, I have access to my table. It doesn't bring the headers, but I have access to the data of my table, right? So now if I want to give it another name, then I can say this table name and equal my table. Okay, so now I can give it a new name. I can save that and run the script. Okay, so now we get the output, my table, which is the new name that we have assigned to our table. The next step that we can do is bring the result, the name of our table within B2. So for that we are going to write, well, I didn't declare another variable for that. So let's declare another variable which is going to be the worksheet. Okay, so this worksheet, it's going to be equal to context workbook worksheet and get active worksheet. Okay, and actually now that we have this variable, we can replace all this with that variable, and okay, so we can put a comment, assign new name to table. Okay, then we have yeah, actually that should be down here. That's the command for this one. This one is load and sync property for that table object. Okay, all right. Okay, and now we need to, okay, so we have this worksheet, and then we are going to get a range, and with that we are going to get the range A2, for instance, A2, and we are going to values. We are going to assign a new value to the range A2, which is going to be, and we need, okay, that's going to be the label for our table name, right? And we need to place the values always in multidimensional arrays. So we open double square bracket, and the closing square bracket will come automatically. Within that, we are going to place table name. Okay. And now we can do the same also for this worksheet. Okay, get range, and here it's gonna be B2. Okay, B2 values. All right. Okay, values. That's gonna be equal to. We open a double square bracket, so form a multidimensional array, and then we place this table name. Okay, and now we can save this and run it again. All right. Okay, we have assigned the name of our table, which is now my table, and we have identified it also here in cell B2, such that now we can also use that name within a function and reference our table correctly with a meaningful name. That's it for now. Thank you for watching.